Washington football team news and answer the hard-hitting questions like, what would you grade the 2024 Washington Commander draft? Leave the comments below. My name is Bradley.
Tico's deep in
Wells.
thought.
Hey, I'm Tico Wells.
I'm
Hey,
Eddie.
I'm Tico Wells.
Eddie
Hey,
Wassarelli.
I'm Tico Wells.
Hey, I'm Donnie Roach.
And we are Command West. Welcome back to part three of the off-season wrap-up bonanza. It keeps getting longer and longer the longer we do this.
The trifecta.
So this is part 3, and we're going to be talking about the 2024 NFL Draft.
Woohoo!
And
this is the exciting part right now. It's all been building up
Commanders,
to this.
The number 2 pick, the pick is in. And the Washington Commanders select Jade Daniels, number 5 out of LSU.
Whoop, whoop.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. He's a bad boy. He's a bad boy. 6'4", 210.
Yep.
I don't know.
But he looks thin.
Some people wanted Drake May. Some people wanted Jane
210
Daniels.
is
Some
light
people
if
wanted
you're 6'4".
JJ. What was the guy's name?
McCarthy.
JJ.
I think 210 is downright skinny at 6'4".
He's quick.
Yeah.
He's quick, man.
Washington picked up their next franchise quarterback in Jaden Daniels. This man is a game changer. He is quick. He is agile. He gets out of the pocket. He's accurate downfields. He's accurate outside the number. He's light on his feet. He makes things happen. He makes plays happen. And one of the things that was said about him by DQ is, he's a game changer. And that's what we need at quarterback. We need somebody to change the culture, change the game, change the franchise, be the face of the franchise. And we got it in Jaden Daniels. And we're riding with him. Whoever, like Dad said, people wanted different things. But you know what we got? We got Jaden Daniels, and he's part of the family. Welcome to the family, Jaden Daniels.
Woohoo. All right. Way to go, Bradley. That was smooth, man. Come on with it, man. Hey,
I think we're done right now.
That's a wrap.
Check it out. He had an 85-yard run last year. I think it was 85-yard, and he had a 50-yard. He had a 51-yard run.
Yeah.
The boy is smooth with the ball, man. When he's running, he had 50 touchdowns, 40 through the air, 10 rushing. Not bad.
Very good.
Highest
in the league touchdowns. Just want to add that.
Yeah, so Heisman Trophy winner.
There are people drawing RG3 comparisons and using that as a slam, as a negative. And I say RG3 had a remarkable rookie year. Yeah. If he could have stayed healthy, RG3
he won the Rookie of the Year.
Could have been. He won Rookie of the Year. He could have been around for a while if he had learned how to slide. And not take hard hits like he did. So I don't know that that's necessarily a slight. The kid can move, and that's a good thing.
Slight build is what I get nervous about, and I think that's what other people are getting nervous about.
Yeah, I think that, and that's where those
6'4" frame, a guy who's 210 is basically a skinny rail.
Yeah,
I get nervous about him getting crushed.
Yeah,
and so more importantly, if our offensive line does what they're supposed to do, this should be the godsend quarterback of all time for us.
Yeah. Peyton Manning was no Adonis, and neither was Tom Brady. And both of them were, 6'5".
Right.
I think Brady might even be 6'6", 6'5".
Here's the thing though, Eddie, is they didn't have the threat of their legs, and which Jaden Daniels definitely does.
Yeah.
He was asked a question after his initial press conference, what is DQ actually said this in a press conference. He said Jaden Daniels takes the soul out of a defense. And then the media asked Jaden Daniels, what does taking the soul out of a defense mean to you? And he said, play the Florida tape, play that game. So I encourage everybody listening to go watch that Florida game, because Tico, that 65-yard run and that 50-yard run are both from that game. And that's how you take the soul out.
Was it 65 yards? It was 65, not 85.
It might have been
whatever it was.
Whatever it was.
I just get nervous.
2 long runs in that game.
Yeah,
85 or 100 yards of college yards.
Absolutely, Eddie, and that's a great point. One of the knocks on him was he takes hits. And at the college level, he was relatively healthy. He was very healthy. I think he got one concussion, but that's not sustainable at the NFL level. You hear all the guys, welcome to the NFL moments, where college ball is nothing compared to the hitting of NFL. And that if you're right, Eddie, that if that kid can stay healthy, we got ourselves one. But that is a concern of mine too. And with our O-line troubles over the last couple seasons, it scares me. In the offseason, we didn't do a ton to get that blind side, that movie, that we didn't get that blind side tackle that we were looking for. And we might have got him in the draft, and we'll talk about that a little later, but that is one concern of Daniels. And I don't want to say like Daniels is the second coming of Michael Vick or anything, because it's not true. But I do want to highlight some of his deficits. One of the things is throwing right over the field. He struggled inside the numbers. He's very accurate outside the numbers because he's that mobile quarterback. He can get outside, but throwing over the middle, he struggled with.
Talking about in the pocket, he's not very good.
I wouldn't say in the pocket, because he is good in the pocket, but
throwing
just
down the center lane.
Exactly, Eddie. I think that he lacks. He struggles with the vision. Another great thing about him is his footwork is one of the best. I think I'm not sure who said it, but he said it's the best he's ever seen coming straight out of college from a footwork standpoint. And for example, Drake May, who went next to the New England Patriots, that's one of his biggest knocks is his footwork is sloppy, it's messy, and it's going to get him in trouble.
So we made a good pick.
Time will tell,
so.
but
yeah.
One
of the
one of the good things is he had his best percentage year last
That's
year.
right.
They went 9-3. He was 72% completion percentage, which was the best of his
improvement.
His
improvement from year to year is outstanding. So
and he
talk about that for a second.
He had 3,812 yards passing
last year. Yeah.
And 1,134 yards rushing,
which is incredible.
He had a 4,000, almost a 5,000 yard year.
Yeah.
And just in total yards.
And am I correct? Was he at Arizona State before? Where was he before? Yeah. He was at Arizona State before. And if you look at his numbers there, I think, they're not jumping off the page like last year's numbers.
No.
So, and you could say, God, I hope this wasn't a fluke year. Time will tell, but I'm hoping what that shows is growth, and he's getting a lot of credit from the coaches about the time and effort that he's putting in and his commitment, so maybe that's what led to his growth through his college years.
Well, also, LSU is the home of Joe Burrow.
Yep.
That's his alma mater. So you got a culture there of now 3 altogether Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah.
And one recent in Joe Burrow. So that kind of environment, it breeds more success.
Yes,
40
absolutely.
touchdowns, 50 touchdowns altogether, 40 passing TDs, only 4 interceptions. That's pretty good. He's not a big interception guy.
Yeah.
He did in his really his 3rd year, but
Tico, you dropped out again. Oh, okay.
Tico, I want to just real quick highlight that, because I think it's a great point. That I think you and Dad are talking about with the stats is you see the high level of interceptions in his sophomore year. I think it's 10 in 2021, and then he goes from 10 to 3, and then the next year 4, and you see from 10 interceptions to three interceptions, the touchdown total is only 17, so it's pretty low. And then to go to 40 this year, it just shows that he's growing and progressing as a quarterback. His pass game, from 2,900 to 3,800 yards in a season, almost 1,000 yards over what he was, what he was doing the previous year. It just shows, from year to year to year, he's growing and progressing as a quarterback. And that's what you want to see. You want to see guys who aren't staying stagnant, who are making adjustments and becoming a better player and just continuing that progression through the NFL. So
absolutely.
I think we
and
got
he
a good
still in that year that you're talking about, his sophomore year, he still had 2,300 total passing yards. He did have 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, which is kind of terrible. But like you said, Bradley, what growth? The next year, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
And then last year, 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And 4 interceptions. That's what got into the Heisman Trophy with the 3,812 passing yards, 1,134 rushing yards. With 10 TDs rushing, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
And we'll see what Cliff and DQ have in store for our guy Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Who else do we like?
Well, let me talk about our next pick.
With the 36th overall pick, the Washington Commanders select Jerzon Newton out of University of Illinois.
So first, let me just say Jerzon. Does anyone know where that name comes from? Everybody calls him Johnny Newton. He's Johnny Newton, but JER apostrophe ZAZHAN. I'm not sure where that name comes from.
From his mama.
That's where the name comes from his mama. Anyway, this was one of the most exciting picks that we had throughout the draft. Everyone was like, what a great pickup. Here's the deal. On any given pick, you got to do one of two things. You got to fill a need, or you got to pick the best player on the board. And Johnny Newton still being on the board, he was a first round pick basically. And the fact that he was still on the board when our second round pick came up, they grabbed him. They had to. We didn't really need another defensive. He's like a defensive tackle, right? He's interior. He's not a defensive end. So, we've got Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. Those are pretty big names on our defensive line. It wasn't a hole we were looking to fill. But when there's a name like that on the board, you got to grab it. Now, here's my only concern. Since we've drafted him, so he was coming off an injury, he had a foot injury and had some surgery in the offseason, but was pretty much, my understanding was pretty healed and ready to roll until they discovered the exact same problem in his other foot. And he just had surgery again like yesterday. Yeah. So he's saying he's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if that's official yet. They're hoping he'll be back in time for the season, but that's right after you draft a guy for him to go into surgery. It's like, it's just, I wish I hadn't seen that, scary. But that was a little scary.
Donnie, why don't you just go down the list real quick since we're running out of time here?
Well, okay, we could say a line or two about each person. Mike Sanderstill from Michigan. I know that's one of your favorites, Bradley.
Yeah, he's the one that had the 71-yard TD interception. He had a bunch of interceptions for Michigan. He may be what we were hoping Forbes was last year. So we'll keep our eye on him. He's a cornerback.
Yeah, he's more of a slot corner, which is definitely a need that we needed.
Yes, that's filling a need.
And he's a small guy, but he doesn't play like it. He's tough. And he's agile and he's quick and he gets the football, gets after it.
Good tackler.
And just with Jerzon Newton and Mike Sanderstill in this defense, in the DQ Joe Witt Jr. defense, they're not specific to a position. They're not, hey, you're an inside lineman. You're a slot receiver or a cornerback. They move people around. So a pick like Jerzon Newton or Sanderstill, they'll put them all over the field and play them where they can really make it.
That's good to hear. Okay.
Yeah. And it's going to take some time for people to get that last name together. Mikey. I heard people call him Mikey
Sanderstill. Here's an easier name. Our third pick in the second round was Ben Sinnott, Kansas State.
Is it an easier name? Because I've heard Sinat.
I know,
really?
Right?
I don't know.
Find out.
You mean, is it or Sinat? It is or it's not? I don't know.
It's not.
It's not an easier name.
Okay.
Tight end out of Kansas State.
Here's what I like what I'm hearing about him. Tight end, you love to see a tight end making big plays, big catches down the field and all, but blocking, that's so key for a tight end. And all I've heard about Ben Sinnott is that He can do both. You know, he's great in the blocking and he's great at catching the ball too and running tight patterns. So I think, you know, it sounds like he's the all-around tight end, the kind of tight end you're looking for.
And
so
then
I'm
we
excited
pick
about
up and then we pick up an offensive tackle, Brandon Coleman out of TCU. Which, you know, at the time kind of felt like finally,
right? We need that offensive line. Yeah.
And I want to, you know, go back really quick to Eddie's point of, you know, this quarterback is going to be great as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah.
I think, you know, picking up Jerzon Newton at 2, you know, we'll see if that pick was good. Because if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy and Brandon Coleman is a great tackle, then that pick is amazing.
Right.
But if Jaden Daniels gets hurt this year, I'm knocking on wood.
Yeah.
And that pick looks terrible because, you know, we really needed a tackle and we picked one up in the at the end of the 3rd round. And we'll see. He is one of the physical phenomena of the draft. He's a big dude, long arms, a little raw. We'll see how they coach him up, but I'm excited to see what we can do with Brandon Coleman.
Didn't he play guard at TCU?
He played guard and tackle.
He did. He played both.
A little bit of both.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay.
Our next pick was a name that you might recognize. Wide receiver, Luke McCaffrey out of Rice University.
Luke McCaffrey.
Lots of one-hand grabs. Lots of one-hand grabs.
Does that mean anything to you, anyone?
Nepotism McCaffrey.
So who is he related to, Eddie?
I know.
Well, some McCaffrey dude that's supposed to be pretty good running back, but I don't know. This guy's a wide receiver, so I don't know. I'm guessing he's got really good hands, and he's probably the son that's going like, I didn't do as well as my brother, but and I just
we'll see.
We'll see.
Hard to live up to those shoes, you know. I mean, that's
who was his dad was a big player too.
Yeah, he played for Denver.
Yeah.
Won a couple Super Bowls with him.
I feel like his
Ed McCaffrey.
And Ed McCaffrey was a receiver, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's following in his dad's shoes. So yeah.
So, you know, I'm excited to see Luke carve his own path in the NFL. You know, I think a lot, you know, he's gonna get compared to his brother a lot, and I think that's fair because his brother is the best running back in football right now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for this kid to branch out and become a player, you know, that's as good as his brother, and provide for this team what we really need is a slot of where Curtis Samuel left. You know, we have Terry, we have Jahan Dotson. We don't really have that third receiver. Let's see what Luke McCaffrey can do this season for the Washington Commanders. Next pick on the board, Jordan McGee out of Temple, linebacker. Another one of these young linebackers. Adam Peters is notorious for picking up late round linebackers. Armstead, Anthony Armstead.
We'll see.
Is a San Francisco guy who's been really, really good. And so we'll see what Jordan McGee can turn into under the tutelage of Dan Quinn and the coaches, Ken Norton, linebacker coach. And the next 5th round pick is Dominique Hampton out of Washington. Huge safety, bigger dude, big presence, has played for a long time. The Washington DBs are you know, usually fantastic. And I'm excited to see what he can do.
And this guy set a school record playing 57 games for the Huskies. He went to the championship, right? They played against Michigan. That was the Huskies.
That's
play?
it.
There you
go.
Yeah.
So
the Huskies.
And he's a big safety. Hits
6
very hard.
6 foot 215.
Oh, I thought he was a little bigger. Okay. So
well,
not as big as I thought, but
big enough.
And look, Adam Peters has been involved
in
in some big late round pickups. If the name Brock Purdy means anything to you, you know, so there you go.
And then I think we had one other 7th round pick that I don't remember the name of, and it's not on my list here. Juan Baptiste Castillo, I think his name is, out of Notre Dame. He's an edge rusher.
Okay.
He's one of those depth guys that maybe over the next couple of years we can we can work on him and see what he can do. He's pretty raw. He's a 7th round pick. And we brought in some free undrafted free agents, but that might need to be saved for another video.
Yeah. There were a lot of undrafted though. I was surprised
to get out of here, guys.
But it is time to get out of here. We will be back somewhere in time for the preseason, somewhere around preseason time. I think is maybe the next time I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. Well, look for us coming back. But this is the end of the trifecta.
We're gonna take a break after this, and we'll see you at the end of the preseason. We'll do a little preseason wrap up and a preview for the first game of the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
in Tampa Bay. That's where we start the season.
So thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. That's a wrap for this episode of Command West. We hope you had just as much fun listening as we did, bringing you the latest and the greatest on the burgundy and gold. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like, comment. What do you grade the 2024 NFL draft for the Washington Commanders? And tune in next time. Thanks so much.
See ya.